Superstar and X-Factor abilities can literally give you the biggest advantage in the entire game, but only if you're using the right ones, as some are good while others are absolutely game-breaking. In this video, I'm going to show you the very best ones to use for every position in the game that gives you the biggest advantage possible. So if you guys want to see what Superstar and X-Factor abilities you should be using for every position in Madden 26, stick around after this brief advertisement. If you guys are looking for fast, cheap, reliable MUT coins, check out my coin sponsors at MMOXP.com and use discount code MONEYSHOT for 6% off your order. Link in the description below. The champ is here! Now I'm going to go over the offense first, starting off with the most important position in the game, the quarterback position. But before I do, as always, if you guys want to see more videos like this, please make sure to be a subscriber, hit the like button, let me know in the comment section. Other than that, if you guys need more strategy and tips when it comes to building your team in franchise, I go over stuff like this in my tips and strategy guides for both offense and defense, which you guys can download instantly simply by clicking links in the description or the top pinned comment. I also recently made a video on how to get more players to Superstar and X-Factor abilities faster, so if you guys want to see a video about that, I will have links on screen at the end of the video as well as popping up in the top right hand corner right now. I'm going to first start off with X-Factors, and to me, Omaha is probably the best one. It allows you to see your opponent's secondary coverage before the snap. If you know what the defense is, it's going to be the easiest way to beat it. So to me, this is definitely the best one, but you can also get knocked out of it the easiest by throwing incomplete passes. After that, Gambit is also a really good one as well, as it increases your throw speed while also making it impossible to throw an interception to AI defenders, which is very helpful as well. You also have ones like Bazooka, which physical attributes are always the most important, and considering that Jalen Hurts has a weak throw power, having something like Bazooka, which extends the distance of how far you can throw the ball by 15 yards, is very helpful. And if you also have a fast quarterback, having Escape Artist on is very important as well, as it basically turns any mobile quarterback into Lamar Jackson behind the line of scrimmage. Now when it comes to Superstar abilities, you can get a similar effect when it comes to Bazooka on every single play by using Pass Lead Elite, which will increase throw power on bullet precision passes, which is really a good function. You also have Quick Draw here, which is similar to Dots, where you basically, when you're under pressure, you have a faster throwing animation. I like to use that a lot. I also like to use Fast Break, which will basically give you better blocking on quarterback design run plays, which I like to use quite a bit. I think that's really effective. You also have things like Gunslinger, which is also going to increase pass animation speed, which is something that's been one of the metas for a very long time. And then I have Protected, which is going to give you better pass blocking protection from your offensive line. But there are a few more ones here that I think are actually pretty good as well and worth looking at. Things like Conductor, obviously, you can make more hot route adjustments faster and blocking adjustments twice as fast. And then you also have a really good one in Set Feet Lead, which is once again all about throw power. If you have your feet set, you're going to get more throw power out of a throw. And another really underrated one is Threat Detector, which you can also put on your offensive linemen, which basically highlight blitzers on 3rd and 4th down. Next, I'm going to go over running backs. There's really only one here that I would consider, and that would be First One Free, as this increases your fake out rate on the next juke, spin, and hurdle, which is something that you get after rushing for 10+ yards. Now, when it comes to Superstar abilities, the obvious ones for anybody that's going to be carrying the ball are going to be things like Jukebox, Spin Cycle, Evasive, Human Joystick. These are all kind of the same thing, as this is going to make your player that much harder to tackle and much easier to make players miss. This is something that is going to be good for just about anybody that catches the ball. That includes running backs, receivers, tight ends, you name it. There's also Armbar, and since Armbar has been one of the best ways to make tacklers miss, I think this is one of the better ones to use as well. And I also like to use Goal Line Back, which is something that when you're inside the 5-yard line, you're going to have increased blocking from your offensive line. Obviously, that's the most important area of the field. So when you get in close to the red zone, this is really important to have. Now, when it comes to receivers, you can use the same Ankle Breaker or First One Free, as they're going to be pretty similar. Obviously, you're going to throw to your receivers more often, so the chance of you getting knocked out of the zone is not as good. But I think that better ones are going to be things like Double Me, as this will increase your rate for aggressive catches against single coverage. There's really not a lot of double coverage in the game. This basically will force your opponent to use a double coverage or a bracket defense, which to knock you out of it, which really doesn't, not a lot of people use. I personally think, though, that one of the best ones to use is Yak 'em Up, because this basically guarantees that you're going to break the first tackle post catch. And if your opponent's running something like a man-zero blitz or something like that, there may be nobody after that, meaning that you can have a wide open touchdown once you break that first tackle. So this right here is probably one of the best ones in the game to guarantee a big play after the catch. Now, when it comes to receivers, you have the same Evasive, Spin Cycle, Jukebox. You can use stuff like this. They're going to help you out a lot when it comes to anybody that catches the ball, like I said previously. But there's going to be ones like grab and go, which is going to be a little bit better. It says after securing a rat catch, ball carrier with this ability can quickly shift momentum, change direction, and turn the corner without sacrificing speed. So you're basically going to get a speed boost when you're turning up field, which is obviously important. To me, the best one's definitely route technician, which is why I don't even have it unlocked yet, at least not for this specific purpose of this video, because this here is the last one to unlock, which is how you know it's basically the best. It's going to give you more separation on just about every route run. You have smaller versions of that with short elite, mid out elite, all these different short in, deep in, all that stuff. You have very similar ones. To me, the deep in elite would be the best one, because post routes are going to be one of the most common routes used when it comes to one-play touchdowns. So this here, with a 20+ yards from the line of scrimmage inside the numbers, has their best chance of being affected for deep routes. So if you like to throw a lot of deep passes, deep in elite is definitely one of the better ones to go. And then you also have things like acrobat, which is gonna, you're gonna likely to succeed and attempt diving catches and swats, although obviously you're not going to swat on the offensive side, but diving catches when the ball's a little bit overthrown or something like that is really good. And then red zone threat is one of the best ones, as you're going to win more tightly contested catches against single coverage in the red zone, which is obviously one of the best areas, once again, that you want to be most efficient. Now, tight ends are basically receivers, but you do have some more options when it comes to blocking options when it comes to tight ends. So if you want to use Vanguard here, this is going to make your run game that much better, as it basically guarantees dominant impact block wins, which can be very helpful. When it comes to superstar abilities, you basically want to use the exact same receiving abilities as regular receivers, but you also have the ability to use things like run protector and pass protector, which are basically the same thing, as they're just going to basically make it to the point where it's like you have 3 tackles out there. So these guys are going to be blocking like tackles, as run block protector especially is probably one of the most important ones, based off of the fact that a lot of times you're running to the strong side behind the tight end, who might have the outside leverage on the defensive end, and this will give you an advantage when it comes to things like stretch runs and stuff like that. They're pretty much going to always nail that block. So to me, this is really important. But you also have some offensive lineman ones that I'm going to go over more in a minute. But to me, all day is definitely going to be one of the best ones if you like to keep your tight end in the block. Next up, I'll go over some of the lineman traits. We have run protector and pass protector here the same way, as well as all day, which basically just means you're holding that block a lot longer than you typically would. And you have something like edge protector, which is going to protect you against instant pass rush shed moves, which a lot of times can obviously just blow up a play. This is going to protect you from that. There are a couple of other ones I want to mention, like threat detector, which I mentioned in the quarterback spot. It's better to have that on a lineman than your quarterback, so you can open up a spot for your quarterback to have more important abilities. But ultimately, this is going to let you know where the blitzes are coming from, or if there's any extra blitzes coming on 3rd and 4th down, which is important. And then you also have omniscient, which will let you know where the user control defender is on 3rd and 4th down, which can be the most important defender on the field, based on the fact that it's usually the best defender on the field. Now, for edge rushers, there's really only 3. I would say Fearmonger is one of the better ones, as you're going to apply more pressure on the quarterback, even when you're currently blocked. So you can force a lot of incomplete errant throws based off the fact that you have this ability unlocked. You also have Blitz, which it says all opposing blockers have their resistance bars wiped out, which means the entire pass rush is going to be better. And then maybe the best one, Unstoppable Force, as this increases the win rate and block shed speed against one-on-one pass blocks. If you have somebody in this, you have to double team them. They're going to be on top of your quarterback right away. Now, for superstar abilities, Edge Threat Elite is easily the best one. There's about 2 more that I'm going to show you guys the use, but Edge Threat Elite here is a combination of under pressure and edge threat, as edge threat is really just faster, more dominant pass rush moves, and under pressure is creating more pressure on the quarterback, which creates errant throws, while this here does both. So edge threat elite is definitely the best one, but there's a couple other ones here that are really good. My favorite is pass committed, because if you guess right, which isn't very hard to do if it's like 2nd and long, 3rd and long, if you guess pass and they pass again, you're going to win that rep instantly, and you're typically going to get a sack or a pressure on the quarterback. So pass committed is huge. I wish I could have this on just about anybody on my defensive line, and that's going to be an absolute cheat code. You also have for run plays, though, no outsiders, as this is going to do a better job of maintaining the edge against stretch runs and stuff like that, which are the most difficult runs to stop anyway. So this one here is obviously very big. And then you got double or nothing, which is pass rushers with this ability must spend twice as much stamina to perform a move, but are granted dominant wins. So to me, double or nothing, obviously one of the metas in MUT as well, is very important, as anytime you get a dominant pass rush move, you're going to be in a really good position. And then last but not least, once again, the goal line. goal line stuff is going to be important, although to me it's probably more important when it comes to defensive tackles. When it comes to defensive tackles, Fearmonger and Unstoppable Force are going to be the same, just like it is with edge rushers. But when it comes to superstar abilities, like I said, to me, goal line stuff is definitely important. You don't want anybody running up the middle when it comes to the goal line, especially if it's QB sneak. Goal line stuff is going to be huge. You got the same things after that, though. You have the same under pressure, double or nothing, pass committed. All those things are still here, the same as the edge rushers. But the main difference is, I would say, inside stuff is going to be way more important than no outsiders, because of the fact that you're playing on the inside. Now, when it comes to linebackers, a couple of these X factors aren't available for everybody, but if you can unlock them, they're definitely the best. For most players, it's going to be things like shutdown and zone hawk, as I'll go over this a little bit more when it comes to the defensive backs. But some linebackers, like Fred Warner here, have mind reader, which basically is the same thing as Omaha for the quarterback, as it'll allow you to see the play art before the play starts on the offensive side of the ball. Now, when it comes to Avalanche, this here is basically a guaranteed hit stick fumble if you're running towards the line of scrimmage, which makes this obviously one of the best ones as well. Now, when it comes to picking superstar abilities for linebackers, safeties, and cornerbacks, you're going to want them to match what type of defense you run. So if you run a lot of zones, you're going to want to put things like mid-zone KO on your linebackers, or flat zone KO on your linebackers and your safeties and cornerbacks and stuff like that, based off of what those individual positions are going to be doing on that defense. If you run mostly man coverage, you might want to do things like medium route KO, because this is based off of man coverage. So make sure you're paying attention to what type of defense you specifically run and what these players will specifically be doing the most. But for some players like Fred Warner here, we also have ones that should benefit everybody, like Lurker, where it says defenders with this ability can make 180-degree interceptions while lurking in a zone in the middle of the field. So basically, if you're using the linebacker in the middle of the field, this is going to make you basically Superman. You also have things like film study, which is, once again, defenders with this ability will have full vision of plays the offense has run a scaling number of times each quarter via the coach cam. So you can get a look at the play art similar to the one I just showed you guys when it comes to X factors. Now, when it comes to cornerbacks, safeties, and linebackers, the best way to go, in my opinion, is going to either be shutdown, which is all about tighter coverage and more interceptions on contested catches, which is very important, or universal coverage, which doesn't say anything about interceptions, is more about just getting knockouts, whether in man or zone. So these, to me, are the two most important, with Zone Hawk really only increasing interceptions in zone coverage, and I get enough interceptions. I don't think I really need that. So those, to me, are two of the best. But Selfless is pretty cool too if you have 3 X factors on your defense. When you enter the zone, everybody on the field is going to enter the zone. So if you're running a lot of X factors on one side of the ball, Selfless is a pretty cool one. Now, when it comes to superstar abilities, it's all about what type of defense you use, with the exception of Acrobat. Acrobat should be on just about anybody in coverage, as Acrobat is going to give you more successful diving catches and swats. So just about anybody could use this. Everything else here is really specific, though. If you're running cover 2, you're going to want your outside cornerbacks to have flat zone KO. If you're running, obviously they don't really run a lot of mid zones for outside cornerbacks, but your slot cornerback will run a lot of mid zones, so you can have them having mid zone KO. When it comes to things like cover 3 or cover 2, if you're running a cover 3 defense, cover 3 zone, this deep out zone KO is going to be helpful, because this says that it's deep zone coverage is 20 plus yards from the line of scrimmage outside the hash marks, which cover 3 deep cornerbacks and cover 4 deep cornerbacks typically will be in. So if you're running either one of those defenses, this one's going to be best. If you're running man coverages, it's all going to be about the KOs, the short route KO, the medium route KO, the deep route KO. Those are going to be best when it comes to man coverages, and the best out of all of them is going to be one step ahead, which is why it's going to be the last one that you unlock, as this will basically just make you blanket a receiver whether he's running an inside route or an outside route. If you don't have that unlocked yet, though, there's inside shade and outside shade, which is basically this split into 2. One step ahead split into 2 different abilities. So if you haven't unlocked one step ahead, you can just rock both of these, and this will basically make it that your man coverage is going to be better inside the numbers or outside the numbers. It's really that simple. Now, for safeties, you're going to have the same thing as deep out zone KO, but only this time it's going to be called deep in zone KO, and it's going to be the same thing. It's just going to be for the middle of the field safeties like cover 3, cover 1, and maybe even cover 4, because technically they can fit the parameters of being 20 yards plus from the line of scrimmage inside the numbers. So it really depends on where they're at. You also have, in cover 3s, a lot of times you'll have guys covering the flat. So for one of your safeties, you might want to make sure that you have flat zone KO, just in case that particular defender is in a hard flat a lot of the game, which is typical. And then your other safety you might want to have in deep in zone KO. video. So make sure that you're aware of which safety is playing what. You do have things like Lurker, which I went over with the middle linebacker, and Film Study, which are obviously important, and Acrobat, which works for just about anything. And then once again, if you run a lot of man coverage, you're still going to want to have these route KO abilities based on the fact that safeties will play a lot of man coverage often as well. And then for kickers, there's really only 4 options, with the 3 best being Zen Kicker, which is going to give you more power and accuracy plus a slower kick meter, which is probably the most important part for kicks over 45 yards. Clutch Kicker, which is going to take away the icing penalty, which is obviously important. And then you have Precision Kicker, which allows you to see the entire arc of the kicking trajectory, which are all very helpful. So I'm going to go ahead and end the video there. If you guys want to see more about how to basically improve your players to get them all superstar abilities, I already made a video about that. I'll have that pop it up on screen as I show you guys a method to get basically your entire team to superstar or X Factor ability in just one season. So just click the links to check that out. Other than that, thanks for watching, man. My shit out. Need more help or just want to show your support? Then head over to my Patreon and join my team, where you can get exclusive content like ebooks and bonus plays, as well as early access to my vids and more. Link in the description below.